Welcome to my ACCT390 final presentation for my work at Global Career HQ. Funnily enough, I'm actually at work at the moment recording this from the office because there's peace and quiet and it's a great place to do it. So Global Career HQ, or Global, is a recruitment company specialising in assisting Australian and New Zealand job seekers make career advancing moves in the United Kingdom. The company leverages relationships with a network of recruiters and direct organisations to best assist candidates with a particular focus on accounting, finance and legal professionals. In February 2023, I began my professional career with a role as a career specialist at Global Career HQ. At the beginning of my role, I had little to no knowledge of the recruitment market, only a drive to learn and begin to navigate the industry I saw myself a part of in the foreseeable future. After more than a year, I can surely say that I work in a nurturing organisation that has offered an immeasurable amount of professional, technical and personal development. When I accepted this role at Global Career HQ, I was ambitious, inquisitive and eager-minded. If I had to highlight a few of the more central goals and aims of my employment, they would be professional development. On my first day as an aspiring young professional, I appeared at my first office-based role in Christchurch City, completely naive to professional standards. Despite this, without knowledge of what I would be learning, I was excited to get stuck in. Effective communication. I went into the role excited to learn how to communicate both verbally and in written form best with my fellow colleagues, prospective customers, clients, and in forms of non-direct and direct advertising, and with senior staff. Technological skills. Becoming literate in various software platforms was something I saw as an important skill, one that I had very little background knowledge in. Some of the platforms that have been frequently used throughout my time at Global and are imperative to my role: Microsoft Office Suite, Salesforce, Zapier Tables, WordPress, and Sales Navigator. Fluency in these platforms has paid dividend and will surely pay future dividends in future roles. Technical skills. I was excited about the prospect of honing in on various technical skills, including search engine optimization, report generation, data interpretation, and research skills. I was ambitious about practicing accounting under my chartered accountant colleagues in the organisation as well. Throughout my deliverables report, I discussed many of both the non-routine and routine activities that I'm involved in. In summarising these, in terms of routine tasks, I'm involved in report generation and supply for various purposes, the identification and approach of potential business leads, direct communication with both sides of the business, that being candidates and clients, UK CV creation for prospective candidates and advice on these CVs, and various other activities. On the other hand, some of the projects I've been involved in include the testing of process enhancements, which includes identification of bugs, faults, and improvements for internal and external facing digital processes before they are progressed into a production environment, drafting content about the job market and various other events for publication on the website and to be used as marketing material, and performing tasks related to cleaning and sorting of data for various company databases. To cover off a few of the more learning dense of these, CV creation is a big element of my role. At Global, we will create UK CVs for candidates before moving to the UK, advising on the content and formatting of these CVs into a presentable form. This function is one that I'm largely involved in. We use a variety of sources to compile into one UK CV, including LinkedIn, candidates' current CVs, and a range of others, and then tailor these best to highlight their accounting and finance professional competence and why they fit for purpose in the role that they're applying for. Global has recently developed AI software that enhances the efficiency of this process. My role currently is to compile information into CVs using these AIs and filter this information into forms that best suit the employability as an accounting finance professional for candidates that I look after or assist in looking after. The identification and approach of potential business leads is another function that I've long been involved with at Global. Over the last couple of months, this process has evolved dramatically into what it is in the current form. The current process uses RPA, or robotic process automation, softwares that can scan through LinkedIn and search profiles that best match its criteria for the search. My function is then to evaluate each of these profiles based on an array of factors, including visa eligibility, work experience, and the degree of fittingness or strength of their work experience as a candidate, professional memberships like chartered accountants or chartered financial analysts, and a range of other factors, including demand, age, and various other bits and pieces. While performing this task, it is crucial to continue to enhance the robotic processing automation systems that filter through the LinkedIn profiles. So that's another key part of my role, and that's to give feedback that these systems can learn off, these intelligent systems can learn off to continue to enhance this programs and make them better, more functional, more accurate, and so on. Additionally, moving into testing of process enhancements prior to deployment into a production environment is a task that I currently spend a large portion of my working hours on. Global is continually looking to improve processes both for internal efficiency as well as external ease of use. And the process of implementing any change involves rigorous testing of functionality as well as improvements we seek and how we may be able to best achieve these. Once a process is designed, I'm involved in the testing of this process under a range of different environments, activities, and strains in order to gain insights into how effectively the process functions. Findings of these are then presented and then back to the designers, where this goes into another phase of designing, and the cycle continues until the process becomes something that we are completely satisfied with to deploy into a production environment, where it will see both internal users and external staff. So, in reflecting on some of these, as I get to this point of my employment, professional development. In addition to the professionalism by appearance that I first cited, I believe that throughout my last 800 hours, I have developed office etiquette, networking abilities to strengthen working relationships that enhance productivity, as well as, probably more importantly, workplace satisfaction and enjoyment. And although it is difficult to quantify or suggest advancements in these fields, I do think I can better navigate the standards in the workplace, as well as becoming more aware of myself in various different settings, particularly professional settings. Effective communication I referenced in my proposal, both verbally and in written form, with colleagues, prospective customers and clients, senior staff, advertising material, and so on. These are all forms of communication that I could not pretend to know much about when I started my role at Global, and remain a language that I'm continually rehearsing to this day. And although there is no alphabet or correct approach in this form of communication to some extent, there certainly is a degree of formality that does need to be understood. I believe that marketing outputs are the avenue I have taken the most away from here. The choice of tone of language and engaging with prospective customers directly or when drafting public material is something I will make particular mention of. The balancing act of drafting email templates, standardizing automatic messages, and so on, that are able to retain an interpersonal feel without being individualized for each candidate is something that requires a lot of rehearsal, and something I definitely have learned a lot from. Despite this, I believe I have learned a lot about tone of voice, creating interpersonal feel about messages, and while retaining a degree of formality and in written and verbal mannerisms to enhance professionalism and effective communication. Technological skills. When drawing on my university studies, this is one area where I was probably ill-equipped for coming into this role. In regard to these difficulties that the university would have in selecting platforms, in regard to the difficulties that the university would have in selecting platforms to teach because of the abundance of continually used platforms in the professional space, there are the vast differences across different industries that one may work in. It is impossible effectively to have a one-size-fits-all learning experience. Although throughout my time at Global, I believe I've been exposed to a very wide range of different platforms with different functions. These include, and I've mentioned on the screen, Salesforce, Excel, Zapier Tables, Video Ask, behind me is Sales Navigator, and a few others like NordLayer and One Password for security, and various other Office suite functions. For me, I've long rejected many softwares or other technologies as if many elements were not aligned with my way of thinking, and I was just inherently bad at understanding or using these softwares. These negative connotations and this rejection like attitude was deconstructed at my role at Global, and I've been able to build confidence and proficiencies in many platforms that I previously deemed to be beyond me. I believe the experience and familiarity will be incredibly beneficial in future roles, just as much as the confidence that I will be able to bring to new foreign platforms that I am challenged with in the future. Technical skills. The term technical skills can encapsulate a very broad range of tasks or functions. It is often used as an opposite to soft skills. It is a term that we frequently categorize skills that our candidates may offer to prospective employers. In my proposal, I discussed the excitement I had for enhancing my technical skills in the professional world. However, I could not have truly anticipated the extent of these functions that I would develop. And highlighting over a few. Report generation. The use of platforms like Salesforce, Excel, and others adds a layer of convenience and accuracy to reports. However, there retains the importance of usability and effectiveness, and that is something that I continue to work on. Data interpretation. This has been one of the more relevant functions that I participate in and is incredibly relevant to any future roles in accounting. In global, I've many of these functions of my accounting are effectively data interpretation. Thus, the learnings in accounting in my employment are very much cross-transferable in this light. However, in my capacity at Global, this will be in presentations of placement details, mix of recruitment, trends and comparisons to previous periods, and various more data that I have to interpret. The use of various presentation formats, including bar graphs, trend lines, line graphs, are very useful to year-end and financial data, as well as the account-by-account data that we use here at Global. Although my exposure to high-level data interpretation is limited at Global, I believe the foundations provided in my role, as well as my studies, will be transferable into almost any role in any field after uni, and particularly accounting. Finally, research skills. Although this is very limited in my role and probably overestimated in my initial ambitions for the role, I have definitely been exposed to a few projects that have really enhanced my research skills, especially in a field that I was not previously familiar with. So without the foundations, it required even more research competence. And finally, interpersonal skills. Differing from those interpersonal skills mentioned in effective communication and professionalism, I believe that this is a direct consequence of my role at Global is furthering my ability to engage with new people in a more confident, interpersonal, and well-rounded manner. I have had extensive interactions with a broad range of people by working in a shared office space and remotely that have enabled me to tune my ability to adapt to communication styles as well as develop confidence in meeting new people. I believe this is a hugely important skill and one that I hope to further throughout the remaining months I have at Global. Thank you very much for listening, and that is me.